Welcome to the Life Society podcast, where ordinary is canceled and playing it safe is not on the menu. Life is calling. Are you answering? I'm your host, Levi Cully, and we're diving headfirst into the stories of trailblazers, risk takers, and go-getters who've mastered the art of living life loud, proud, and totally alive. This is your wake-up call, my friend. We're here to shake you out of the mundane, pull you out of autopilot, and ignite the fire in your soul to become the main character in your story. Because life is too short to sit on the sidelines. It's time to own your passion, chase your purpose, and reclaim your aliveness. Get ready to laugh, cry, and feel all the feels as we uncover the secrets to fearless living. This is more than a podcast, it's a movement. The Alive Society is your tribe, and together, we're creating lives that feel like an epic adventure. So buckle up, hit play, and let's get alive. Welcome to the Alive Society podcast, and let's make this life unforgettable. Welcome, our guest, Ryan Simpson. He is a longtime friend of mine. Honestly, I've never really done anything in life without getting his help. He's like the dude I go to say, bro, is this a good idea or what? And then we've partnered on businesses, grew up kind of together, and very like-minded. He fits the category for this podcast. So welcome, Ryan.
Good to be here.
Heck yeah.
That was a great introduction.
Thank you.
Awesome stuff.
So I want to just jump into it. Ryan, introduce yourself to us.
Yeah, so my name's Ryan Simpson. I'm originally from South Jordan, Utah. So here in the great city of Utah. I love the mountains. I love the outdoors. But of course, me and Levi, so we grew up together. We're a couple years apart from each other, so we didn't totally hang out, I would say, together all the time. But we've, as we've grown up, we've partnered in various businesses. He's given me advice. He always asks for my advice for some reason. I try and give him the best stuff that I can, but... So, yeah, I love entrepreneurship. I love self-development. Learning different things, different skills has always just been something that's very interesting to me.
That's awesome. He's holding back, guys, but you'll learn more as we go through the podcast episode. Anyways, Ryan, you just got back from summer sales, and that's not something I've had the experience or the opportunity to experience, and I wish that I could go back, because everybody that I know that's just kicking butt in life, some way or another, did summer sales, door-to-door sales, and there's so many good qualities that you just kind of you're forced to learn. So if you were to tell the audience, if you could put into one thing that you learned or have experienced through the whole summer sales thing, whether it's affiliated with sales itself or just personal development or some book that you read while you were out there, what's the biggest thing?
Sure. I think just for the biggest thing for me was going out there every day. It's not easy, as you probably have heard. You're out in the hot sun knocking doors every day, putting in just an honest effort, blood, sweat, and tears to make an honest living. People don't like salesmen. Typically, when you come and knocking on their door, they don't like that. So you face a lot of rejection. The biggest thing that I think that I learned was not allowing that rejection to get past, putting up a wall and making sure that you can continue and push past that rejection the next door. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What kind of mindset do you have to put yourself into to get yourself there? Because that's hard.
I mean, something that's always helped me when I was out there is recognizing that it isn't. I mean, you hear it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
You got to knock a certain many doors to get a sale, and so when someone would reject you, say, "Okay, no worries. The next one, I'm going to get a sale, or the next one, I'm going to get a sale." I think that stands true in most businesses. You're going to face rejection. You're going to face, trials, but just blowing past that, not giving it too much thought, not putting a whole ton of emotion into it, just being logical, certainly helps.
Yeah, and I love that. There's so many things in life, like Uncle Grant says, Grant Cardone, he in his sales book, Sell or Be Sold, he says everything in life is sales. You're gonna sell your wife on which house you want. You're gonna sell your daughter to be home on time. You're selling your parents constantly on things you want help with, or if you need their permission for something growing up. Like, life is sales, and learning the discipline to take rejection, that's huge. That's huge. How do you not let the no's get to you and take it personal?
Well, I mean, I would say that I struggle with that a lot at the start. I don't know if I'm like not struggling with it now, but it's become easier as I've seen the results come in. Obviously, your first day sucks, but as you get the hang of it, it becomes easier. You start getting more confidence in yourself. And I guess it's just having the mindset of, what you're selling or what your business is offering is something so valuable that even if they tell you no, you don't care. Right?
Yeah.
You're going to move on to the next person. It's their loss.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't want what I have to offer. That sucks for them.
Right.
So just pushing past that, having that attitude really brings success.
I like that. I like that a lot. I've been struggling, like you said, and I think we're human beings, so we struggle. But I've been struggling also with just like changing that into like a day-to-day lifestyle point of view. It's a struggle not wanting people's approval in life.
Hard. Yeah.
Like, if I propose an idea at work to coworkers, let's say, for example, I want to feel like they accepted it, whether it's like good or bad. I just want to feel accepted. And approval, like seeking approval, can kill somebody. Like, it just ruins your life. There's like you don't need approval to go start your business. You don't need approval to go date this girl or to ask her out, or you don't need approval to become the person that you want to be at the end of the day. And so, like, I love that. That's so true.
Well, I mean, and on top of that, seeking approval, that's such an emotional thing, right? Looking for someone's opinion to, I guess, validate your choices.
Yeah.
It's emotional. And I mean, lots of people, these $1 million, $1 billion entrepreneurs, they take emotion out of business, right?
Yeah.
So they keep passion in business, but their emotions are not in business. They look at the decision they have to make at face value, and they make the decision. What's going to benefit their company best?
Yeah. How do you feel like that applies to your life right now?
That's a great question. I feel like I am. I mean, maybe it's just because I got back from sales, and the off season is tough for some people to try and figure out what they want to do.
I can bet.
But for me, I feel like I'm just at a crossroads right now. I have a couple opportunities that are pending. Of course, I'm working on my own business and whatnot. But I mean, my strategy is I'm keeping open doors. So you asked me earlier. I told you at one point that I like being a yes man. So
tell me more about that. What does that even mean?
So I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. There's a movie called Yes Man.
Totally.
Jim Carrey. He plays a guy, and I think the basis of the movie is he goes through life just kind of saying no to things, being closed off, doesn't like to put himself out there, doesn't like to try new things, just likes to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And one day he goes to this, I guess, personal development seminar or something, big flashy lights, loudspeakers, but he changes his attitude from saying no to saying yes. And so it's kind of silly because he does say yes to literally everything, which I don't think is the smartest idea. But I mean, just having an open mind and saying yes, even when it's something that can be uncomfortable, is going to lead you to so many new opportunities and open the door to so many new things. For example, I've never done a podcast before. Levi called me up and said, "Hey, do you want to be on a podcast?" And I said, "Yes." 5 minutes maybe. And I replied, I said, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So, I mean, just I mean, that's so appropriate for what this podcast is all about, is just keeping an open mind, allowing yourself to experience new things. I think is just a great way of living life.
Yeah, totally. That totally goes with like the vibe of the alive society. Like, let's wake up. Let's go do cool stuff. Let's be authentic and true to ourselves and say yes. Like Gary Vaynerchuk talks about, the more open doors that you have, the better and more successful that you're going to be. And he's not saying keeping all of them open for as long as you possibly can. He's saying the more doors, the more opportunity. And we are in the land of opportunity. Like, we are super blessed to be in this country. You said something while you were talking about when I invited you on this podcast, and how quickly it was a yes. My coach has been drilling into my head about, side note, just life coaches are dope. Big fan.
Do you mind if I ask who it is?
I'm in the We Are the They group.
Okay.
It's a coaching group, and run by Jimmy Rex. And he talked about on our call this week that decisiveness is success. Like, the more decisive that you can be, it just directly correlates with success. And I love that ideology behind the yes man that you've been talking about, because it forces us to be decisive. Like, if we are leaning towards yes all day, every day, if we're ever asked anything, or if we have an opportunity or a door open, and we're leaning towards a yes, then decisiveness will go up immediately, and our success will blow out of the water. Because we are humans. We only can handle so many decisions every day, and especially hard decisions. And if we gas ourselves out on picking, like sitting here trying to decide what microphone I'm going to buy, or what water I'm going to buy, or what loaf of bread at the store it's best, or trying to work a deal with somebody, like, waste of time, waste of energy. Let's make big decisions and get these little ones out of the way. I love that.
Got to make actions. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, amen. What are some of the actions that you've taken in life? Because the part about being alive in life is being able to take action, and take it now. Because masculinity, life, success, and happiness is all action. It requires action. What opportunities or open doors are you grateful that you jumped at?
Yeah, well, I'll just start by answering that question. So when I was growing up, I like to think of myself as the black sheep of the family, when I'm probably just like all of my other siblings. But I like to be different. Yeah. I was never interested in like being a doctor, or being a fireman, like most kids want to be, right? Mm-hmm. Or a baseball player. From like a really early age, I wanted to be an inventor. So I wanted to make something, design something, build something that was going to change the world. And so ever since then, I've just been dead set on doing something, building something that allowed me to, I guess, display my creative talents and build something that was going to change the world. So that's been my vision. Some of the actions that I've taken from that, I love doing creative things. So as soon as I found out that I liked doing creative things, I entered in an art class. I did art contests. So I sketched, I painted. That quickly turned into digital art. I started doing videography. In my high school, I did all of our sporting events, which allowed me to create really cool connections. But just keeping that same attitude and mindset of keeping the door open, looking for opportunities and taking them, not being afraid of maybe, I guess, some of the negative things that can happen when we go out on a limb like that. I guess now, like with sales, I heard this opportunity from my uncle, who was our sales manager out there. He's been super successful in the door-to-door industry. I don't see myself as a door-to-door salesman.
Yeah.
But I did see that as an opportunity to learn and grow as a human being, to put myself in a position where it wasn't necessarily easy, but allow myself to grow physically, spiritually, mentally, and financially as well. And so these opportunities, just like what you're talking about, they come up. Right? They're here and then they're gone. So if you don't analyze it as fast as possible, don't make a dumb decision, but analyze it as fast as possible. Decide what you're going to do, and then commit to that idea.
Yeah. I love that. Commit. Just absolutely dive in and commit. If there's something that has been impactful, for me, I've told my story on other episodes, but I was told by everyone around me to go to college, that I wouldn't regret it. And so I did, but I didn't love it. I didn't want to go. And at the same time, I was running a business, and I was half committed on each one. And one night, late at night, I was visiting with a friend of mine, super close friend. And he just said, Levi, if you don't full ass something, you're never, ever going to be successful at two things at once. So while you're half-assing school and half-assing your business, you're missing out on opportunity. You need to commit. And at the time, I was running like a crew of installers. I did an epoxy floor coatings company. I had a crew of installers in Logan, Utah, and I had a crew of installers in Salt Lake City, Utah. And Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I would be in Logan doing a floor. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'd be in Salt Lake doing a floor. And in the nights and mornings, I was doing school. And in between all there, I was being social, had a girlfriend and all that. And just like you said, dude, like I was afraid to make the decision to not go to college so much that I actually half-assed college and my business for literally 2 years. And I lost 2 years. Part of being alive is that we make a decision, we stick to it. We commit and we do it. And I lost out on 2 years of running a successful business and growing it hard. And I lost out on enjoying and experiencing college. And one of my greatest mentors told me the same thing. If you're going to do a business, do a business. If you're going to go to school, go to school. And if you're going to commit to a lifestyle, commit to it. Because nobody needs another CPU, another person who's just totally lost in the options. Indecisive person, like that's a good word for it, is lost.
I think that's just the culture of, the world that we live in today. People they don't want to make decisions, right? It's tough to make decisions.
Yeah.
Because there's risk involved. Putting all your eggs in one basket is tough. You don't have anything to fall back on. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm either going to be successful in this or I'm going to die trying, which gets me fired up. But I would just say about the culture of the world, we live in a day and age where, people just need gratification, right? We need an answer. We need something to come fast. And so I look at so many people, including myself, really, if I'm being honest, starting a business and they're not seeing success in the first, 1, 2, 3 months, and they quit, right? I haven't quite quit, but it is frustrating not seeing that success come as fast as we want.
Yeah.
But if you are committed to your vision and where you want the business to go, and you drill down at that idea, you will be successful, right? Or like I said, you die trying.
Yeah. I love that, what you said about, just more on decisiveness. I wish I could repeat what you just said. That was gold. Yeah, I absolutely agree. What about that? Tell me, if you had to go back 5 years or go back to day one on any of these businesses that you've started or any of these opportunities and do it differently, how would you have done it?
I wouldn't have. There's lots of things and opportunities that I've started and haven't followed through.
Yeah.
I think I'm a very I like a lot of different things. And so when I start one thing, I get bored really fast. So that's been one of my biggest struggles, is just staying disciplined.
Yeah.
But I mean, what I would have gone back and done is just not giving up. Just say, hey, I'm going to make this work, even if it does suck.
Yeah.
Even if I do get bored, like I'm going to figure out how to not get bored. I'm going to figure out how to do it right.
Right.
That's what I've learned recently. That's what I'm doing now in my different businesses, is just making sure that you do it right and that you do it disciplined.
Yeah. Yeah. And a decision not made is 100 times worse than the wrong decision made. Because at least you made a decision, you have progress. The decision is made and we can do something about it.
Yeah, or we learn something.
Yeah. Yeah. And let's talk about that. Like, how do we learn? By probably making the wrong decision. When in the world are we going to learn if we didn't make a decision? I've had so many experiences with people who sit in indecision and end up not making a decision. And they get pulled with the wind wherever the wind wants to take them. And life never happened.
Yeah. So, I mean, I remember one time we were doing epoxy. Actually, this probably happened more than one time, but
yeah.
So epoxy, you lay it, and I mean, within maybe 20, 30 minutes, it's pretty much cured. I mean, there's a long curing process, but it gets dry fast.
Yeah.
I remember some times where we would lay the first coat, and we'd forget something, right? Oh crap, we didn't paint this side, or we didn't flake this part.
Yeah.
And you have to make a decision fast about how we're going to fix this issue.
Yeah.
If you wait too long, you're going to have dry epoxy and wet epoxy. You're going to have some issues where the flakes don't stick right. Clear coat doesn't go on correctly. So, I mean, I just remember that happening, and I remember you being like, we got to figure this out fast. And I mean, you just said, okay, this is what we're going to do. Go do it. And we could do it.
Yeah. So for the listeners, Ryan's talking about my first business ever, this epoxy coatings company that I did. And it was so awesome because I brought him on as one of my first employees just because I knew him and he was ready to freaking just tackle the world. And I threw him on as our operations manager. He just took my truck and trailer and I went and sold. And he did a lot of the installs, and I was there with him a lot of the time, and we had some helpers for him. And we just conquered it, man. We did it. And it's so true. That experience, doing an epoxy floor, forced us to figure out how to make a decision fast right now and figure out problems, like hard problems, quickly. And so, yeah, I absolutely agree. And that whole experience taught me how to be a fast decision maker. And sometimes it's nauseating for the people around me, like my family and my fiance, who like to think deeper about their questions. Like, I can seriously make a decision so quickly because of my experiences. Like, I lost my brother 4 years ago to cancer, and he his life was shortened. He didn't get the opportunity. So on anything that he didn't get the opportunity to do, I don't waste a minute trying to decide. I'd just rather go for it and clean up the issues later, you know?
Yeah.
And that's so cool that you bring that up. You mentioned earlier that once you start something, it's hard to stay focused and determined on it. A lot of people I've heard talk about that like conundrum right there. You start something and it's hard to stick with it. It can be a diet. It can be, I have people who have addictions, like programs, school, and sticking to something and being just like consistent is tough. What have you found that helps you stay consistent with your habits?
So, here's what I've learned, and I'm not perfect at it, but what I've learned is making sure that, in any decision that you do and in any opportunity that you're pursuing, business that you're starting, you have to keep the end goal in mind, right? And even life in general, in everything that you do, you should be thinking about where this is going, right? What the end goal is, why you're doing it, right? There's a book, Simon Sinek, Start With Why. I don't know if you've read it.
Yeah.
It's a simply written book, but it's all about remembering what your why is, what your cause is, why you're doing this, why you're doing that. And I mean, he's a pretty analytical guy. I think he put some studies in there that even show that when you start something, when you think about why you're doing it, whether it's a diet, a program, a business that you're starting, people are, 90% more effective just because they're thinking about where this is going. When you're stuck in the moment, if I'm starting a business and I'm not seeing success right away, or if I'm, just getting bored, it's not as fun as I thought it would be. I'm in the moment. I'm not thinking about where this is going to take me. So something that I think everyone should do that I did recently, I probably should have done it a lot sooner, was create a vision board. So, I have one in my head, or I had one in my head. I actually put one in Photoshop and put everything on my material objects. But
let's go.
Material objects, having a family, keeping God in my life, that's all on my vision board. And I make a goal to look at that every day and to just think about all that stuff. Tune into the idea of having that stuff.
Yeah.
And it helps me realize that, this is going to be difficult to get all this stuff.
Yeah.
I know some people that have this stuff.
Yeah.
And they worked their butts off to get it, right? They worked so hard. And so I guess it just puts it into perspective. It allows you to remember why you're doing something. And then when it sucks, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So
I love that, Ryan. I always say the human brain is so dumb. We just forget. I think God was just hilariously laughing in heaven when he created me because I just forget. I learned this super invaluable lesson where I'm like, this is going to change my life. And I'm amazing for a year. And then I just forget.
Yeah.
I'm totally back to who I was. And I just lost the vision. And I'll go to some seminar or motivational speech. And I'm so fired up. And I take all the notes in the world and I leave, and the next week is so productive and I'm amazing. And everyone's like, dang, you've changed. And then right back to normal. And I love that, what you said about a vision board. That term is thrown around like crazy.
It really is, yeah.
In this space. And how many of us have actually done it and put it on our wall? I think I've made 2, and they're not on my wall. Because I didn't take the time to make them look good, and they're not cool.
That's probably the difference between you and me, is that I took so much time to make it look really pretty.
Yeah.
And that's a vision board right on the top in a nice font.
See, that's important. And
but
So I want to talk about this. I want to dive into this. This is what this episode is about. Is this vision, creating a vision for your life. You can call it what you want to call it. There are things in the Bible that talk about this. Ask and ye shall receive. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. There are things in every belief system, no matter where you live and what you believe in, is that if you focus on something, you will get it, period. You look at it daily, you think about it daily, your thoughts create action, your action create reality. And if you want to manipulate your thoughts, you can manipulate the things around you to make you think about the right things more. I would love to talk about this. Again, I'm going to bring up Grant Cardone because he is just the GOAT. But he brought up this idea of putting a yellow legal pad on your nightstand, writing down your goals every single day. Long-term goals, big, huge, massive goals, to then kind of visualize and emotionalize them, and putting kind of a date to it. So I did that. I typed up 12 goals for myself, and I wish I had them here in front of me. I accomplished all of them, every single one. They were lifetime goals. I wanted to own a rental property. I wanted to own a business. I wanted to make $1 million in a year. I wanted to own my dream car, a Tesla. I wanted to just get married and have a family. I don't have a family and then I like other things, more spiritual things, more personal things. I've experienced and struggled through a porn addiction in my life. And I put on that list, I just want a month of sobriety. And then I seriously looked back and I calculated it. I seriously more than 2 or 3x'd every single one of those goals. And I'm not even done trying. I'm 24. Like, so for my personal deal, I suck at vision boards, but the list of goals and reading them daily kicked butt for me.
I mean, it's the same principle.
Yeah.
Right? You're like you said, you're putting these goals, these life goals, wants, whatever you call it, in the forefront of your mind, right? You're thinking about it all day, every day, especially when you're writing them down at night. I mean, you got your dreams are probably just the gears are turning. You're just thinking about those goals all night.
Yeah.
I mean, having that perspective really, I mean, it helps us work harder. It helps us focus more. It helps us realize, I guess, the importance of what we're doing when we are working hard.
Totally. I've heard, I actually went to a conference a couple weeks ago, and the message was that only 5% of our decisions are actually coming from our conscious. The other 95% of our decisions are coming from our subconscious. So by emotionalizing things and introducing repetitiveness to those ideas, those thoughts, those images actually can change our subconscious, and the subconscious figures it out with us consciously not even knowing that we did figure it out. It's like that country song, How Bad Do You Want It? Like, if you want it, you think about it enough and it happens, period. And that can go two ways. That can go negatively and it can go positively. If I tell you right now, don't think of a pink elephant, what's the first thing that comes into your brain?
A pink elephant.
Right. So if we sit and think about our fears and the what ifs and the fears and crap, this is going to happen all day, I promise that all of those things are going to happen. If the worst case scenario is always the thing that's on the top of my brain in every situation, that's what's going to happen. I love to ride motorcycles. I'm a huge fan. And they always say, put your eyes where you want to go, not where you don't want to go. Because people do it all the time. They think, I'm going to go over this cliff. What if I go over this cliff? And then their eyes are on the cliff and you literally go off the cliff because your eyes were on the edge of the cliff.
Yeah. And
that's so applicable to life, and it's happened to me so many times in life and on a motorcycle. So Ryan, share with us kind of just as a final wrap-up statement, how do you keep your eyes on the vision? How do you incorporate your vision, and how do you train your subconscious, like we've been talking about, to kind of win big? Like, what's your theory? What's your beliefs, and what do you do for the rest of us?
I honestly think it's simple. I can't tell you that there's this super secret thing that I do to keep my vision. I think that my vision, what I want, I'm just so dead set on what I want in life that I'm always thinking about it. I'm dreaming about it. The podcasts I listen to are going to help me achieve that. The books I'm reading are going to help me achieve that. I mean, everything that I do, I'm thinking about it. And so I think a lot of people just maybe don't know what they want yet, or aren't too excited with maybe their vision that they have right now. And so I'd say get fired up about what you want in life. I'm lucky to have people that have believed in me all my life. And so they've helped me, I guess, nest that vision. I know we're running out of time, but there's a quote that I saw in someone's garage once, just hung up, but it says, I wrote it down on my whiteboard at home. It says, create like a god, command like a king, and work like a slave.
Holy smokes, I love that.
I love that.
Say that one more time for all of us.
Create like a god, command like a king, and work like a slave.
That's awesome.
So you got all sides of the spectrum.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing your heart, your spirit, and your knowledge with us, Ryan. You're awesome.
Heck yeah, dude. Thanks for having me.
Totally. And as like a recap, everybody, for the listeners, stop seeking approval. Be a yes man. Lean towards yes always when it comes to a decision. Decisive equals successful. Don't chase shiny objects. Stay committed. And how to do that? Keep your end goal in mind. Create a vision board. Start with why by Simon Sinek, and keep it simple. Here's the last message. You must know what you want to get there. Amen. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a good week.
Peace out.
Peace.